Right, let's try and play the Doctor Who RPG solo. Right, so the fiction of this story, this is not an Olivetti typewriter with a Ryobi battery stuck in the top. This is indeed a dry sat. That's right, not a TARDIS, but a dry sat, and I'll get it correctly. It is a dimension relative in space and time machine, kind of a baby's first TARDIS. It's for it's mail order from Gallifrey, and the idea is that it's a sort of a try before you buy type thing. So if tourists are happy with this version of the TARDIS, then maybe they'll upgrade. But this is going to be good enough for me. Obviously, I am an Earthling of the 21st century, which means this technology is definitely way above me. But don't worry, it comes with a manual. It also came with a few bonus features that I was willing to splash out for. It came with this, what's it called? This Blunder Buddy. Basically, it's a sort of a form of a force field just in case things go a little bit awry. And it also comes with a nice handy dandy data pad, which should help me sort of scan technologies I don't quite understand. Hopefully that will work. Ooh, okay. And of course, if all else fails, I have, of course, my humble bag of jelly babies, which hopefully I'll never quite need unless I'm in a very tight story spot. But yes, I thought I'd go for an adventure through space and time using the Doctor Who RPG system, which is normally a multiplayer and probably should be played multiplayer, but I thought I'd experiment and play it solo, taking some cues from the rulebook, which was a weird rulebook, in order to help me guide a self-directed story. More or less, there is a structure that will be following along, but the surprises along the way are completely random. We don't quite know where this machine will take us. At some point, I might make a video explaining how I've tried to adapt the game to solo, but right now, let's just get into the story. So I do confess I love my history. I really, really do. It's people, isn't it? It's people like us, but not like us. But I also know enough about history that probably traveling back in time without backup could be a mistake. The present is certainly a lot more hygienic than the past. So I thought, well, why not go to the future? I thought what I would really like to see with this space and time machine is Jupiter. Like, Jupiter is huge, is massive, has that raging storm on it that's been just swirling for 300 years. We've discovered on its crown there's 8 raging storms all whirling and churning at once. And so I thought, well, why not, for the first test drive of the dry sat, let's take it to Jupiter. According to the handy dandy suggestions in the manual, there is a nice little cafe, well, not a cafe, like a truck stop out in the distant future, sitting just out from Jupiter. It's on the course if you're heading out to Pluto. That you could go to. It's relatively clean, it's got a Macca's, and I could go there and get a good view of Jupiter. At least that's my plan. Okay, so according to this chart, we're in the 21st century, which means we're in the early stage 5 technology level. We intend to travel to the late stage 5, the sort of colonization of the solar system. That's apparently when this truck stop is in operation. So we're going to need, it's a relatively simple trip through time, but we will be traveling through space as well. So apparently we need to plot a course for this, which is this stage we have here. Now the way that the Doctor Who RPG works, you're simply rolling 2 D6s and adding some modifiers like many good RPG games. But for this first move, we're adding not only my own personal modifier of my own personal knowledge, which is 3, to what I'm doing, but we can also, fortunately, make use of the ship's own stats, its ingenuity of also 3, so not that bad. So the best I can plot this in, we're heading to Jupiter, not too far away from Io apparently. So we're looking at 13. Oh, 13 is not too good. Well, it's my first time. Give me a break. Because I failed with a 6, it means that we're probably going to have to make two course corrections before we land safely. Oh, good eye. Okay, but now it only gets worse. We're about to enter into the time vortex, which can be quite hazardous. Let's just say it's kind of against the laws of physics doing this. So I'm going to require my transport skill, which is 0, and the strength of the dry sat itself, which is 3. So we're trying to get into the vortex at a 12. Oh, here we go. Right, are we ready? Our adventure in space and time begins. And we roll. Okay, so I failed with a 1, which I think means I stalled. I mean, it just said I didn't enter the vortex. Doesn't say I took any damage necessarily. Hold on. Right, let's try that again, shall we? Ah, good. Okay, so it appears that the ship has taken some damage as that was a failure roll. It seems that our ingenuity and our presence has both taken a hit. Well, the ship didn't have much presence to begin with, so that's no real loss, but the ingenuity could be a problem. Okay, so now we're navigating the vortex, which, let's be honest, is probably harder than it should be. I need to, once again, use my transport in order to try to, in the ship's awareness, in order to spot the course corrections that we need to make. We're trying to get it on a 12, so here we go. We observed the first course correction. We managed to actually spot that, so that's good. We don't need to deal with that first one. But I believe the second one is coming up now. We have ourselves, it was close, we're 1 off. Okay, so sadly we missed that one, which means we're probably going to be soon. Oh, we're going to need to do a proper course correction. This is at 15, and we're using our coordination and my transport again, which means we're only adding 4 to a roll. All right, here we go. Count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's not good. It's not good. I can't do this. Look, if one of those fails, have a jelly baby. Right. Let's do this. That bumps us back up to and almost. Okay, so we made that. We made that course correction. The ship didn't take any additional damage. We are still in one piece as we're approaching the final stretch and landing in the future on this truck stop, space station orbiting off of Jupiter. Let's see if we can make it. Once again, I'm using my transport. Really a bad idea that I'm really not very good at using transport. But now we're relying on the dry sat's strength to bring us in, but we're only trying to get for a 9. So here we go. Oh, let's try and make this actually work, you stupid ruddy thing. We did it! We've landed the dry sat exactly where we're supposed to have landed. I'm pretty sure, at least we've arrived at the coordinates that we tracked in the first place. So I think, in theory, if we head out the door, we should be in the future. Okay, so the dry sat has landed. Oh, it's heavier than you think. Now, supposing that the coordinates were correct, we just simply head out the door and see what we find, I guess. Now, according to the itinerary, we're going to head out this door and we're going to look at what we can see, what we can smell, what we can hear, what we can see again. But I guess what I'll do is I'll do a quick roll and we'll see to what percentage my expectations are fulfilled in this situation. Whether it's 50-50, kind of exactly what I expected, or 100%, more than I could possibly dream, or, well, 0%. Pretty bad. Well, I don't know what I was expecting. I was kind of, like I said, expecting a truck stop, like the twin servos, if you know that, between like major cities, you know, a nice little fast food place, maybe a bit of Americana, like a diner, that kind of thing. something out of Space Quest or whatever. But as we head out through the doors, it's so much more than that. It is a hum with activity. Straight away, the first thing you notice is people going backwards and forwards. Although we're in space, and there does appear, as I look up to see portions of this large atrium, there appears to be spaces where there is zero gravity sort of transport tubes going back and forwards. People are able to walk pretty freely along the ground. There's some sort of fake gravity going on here. It smells clean, but not sterile. It smells like there's people going back and forwards with food, just nice food, and not in a greasy kind of way, like a nice earthy spices kind of way. And I can't help but sort of look around and see what's making that smell. There's little food stops all around the place, not like one big food court, but like just little booths nicely set out where delicious food is being cooked for anyone just to quickly grab a snack. I imagine I can hear the intercom go off, like at some sort of airport or train station, and a voice cries out, calling for some sort of terminal or passenger to come along, in a calm, nice voice, just sort of saying, please come collect, or something like that. It's all being translated. The dry sat does indeed have the universal translator that most TARDISes boast. But all of this is awash in light and openness, and people standing in groups laughing and smiling and seemingly enjoying themselves in this space. I was kind of expecting Star Wars or Aliens, a little bit of grime and grit, but in this time, in this place, this seems nice. So that's what I imagine I see as I enter into this place. Now, I have a focus. Right now, I do have a short-term goal in order to see Jupiter. That's kind of why we're here in the first place, right? So I guess I very carefully toddle around. I look back at the dry sats to see what I can see, and I notice just a door. Not a booth, not like a phone booth, but just a door in the wall, and that's it. And the door matches all the other doors in this space, but the only weird thing is it does seem to have like a deadlock for a more contemporary key. I check, and indeed the key fits the lock. The dry sat has become a part of the wall. It's now part of the ship, so I need to make sure I don't lose track of where I leave the dry sat. So I'm going to look around to see if I can see any observable features, to see if I'm able to find my way back here again. At least that's what I try to do. We'll see if I can succeed at that later. But then I go and I tug on someone's shoulder. This bloke turns around. He is human, at least the best I can tell, and his appearance, as determined by a certain Sean Tompkins sci-fi chart, this person turns around and this person turns around and she, I guess, looks aged. Like they're old. They're visibly really old and quite wrinkled. Like there's still lots of like sort of age spots, but in spite of that, there seems to be a strength and an energy to them still. It's almost like this person is old but young for their age. Is that some sort of medical science helping people live longer in this time? Maybe, I don't know. But I politely ask them, excuse me, miss? I'm new to the space station. This is the first time I've ever been here. I wonder if you could tell me, is there a window I could view Jupiter from? It's likely. Yeah. So she says to me, yes. Oh, yes. It's great. Oh, you're new here. Oh, it's lovely. Oh, well, come on. Yes, there is one. If you, and she begins to give some directions. She gives directions that you want to go down this main atrium, and then if you go down a staircase, you'll come out into the viewing platform. She sort of gives that description, and that seems pretty good. Like, it's almost like the little booklet that tells you to go to Jupiter as a little trip. Knew it would be relatively safe and secure to do this. So thank you, ma'am. And she sort of looks back with a bit of a wry smile or something. But cool, so the Drysat's door is there. I just need to go down through this big atrium space, down a staircase, and there should be a window. So I do this and I don't know what to do. I don't know if I'm meant to like look at people. Is this going to ruin my future? If I see like a poster that says like, I don't know, a certain politician gets voted in, or like maybe it turns out someone's going to grow up to be another sort of tyrant type figure. Will that change the way I think? Look, I came to the future because in theory it's going to try and limit the number of like damages to the space-time continuum, at least I think. So hopefully, if I'm just careful, I keep my head down, I kind of just look straight ahead, and I try to be polite as people go past. Like if they make eye contact, and try not to stand out, and just realizing that I'm wearing a knit. Is that weird here? It probably is, but I slowly make my way to the staircase. I make my way down, and as I do, eventually I can get sight of this sort of bit of a window that stares out into black. That must be space. Like, space. I keep going down, that thought that the unending is just actually through that window. It's just kind of dawned on me that that's forever that way. Keep walking down the staircase. That's in my mind, and I almost don't notice it creeping into view, but eventually it's there. Bright and red and orange. I approach the window and the behemoth just floats there. Silently. Quiet as all get out. There's nothing immediately recognizable down on the surface. It's the red spot, for example, is, I don't know, not in view or something like that. But the giant gaseous swirls move and twist, and it almost fools you into thinking it's like milk moving through tea. But then again, you have to remind yourself that that's not what you're looking at. You're looking at a storm, a wind, a current, an eddy, far, far more vast than our whole planet. Just raging and roaring below. My goodness, there it is. It's Jupiter. And with that bucket list little activity ticked off, I don't know. I don't feel like leaving. I feel like sitting here. I look around and I'm going to say, because it's all so well set up, I'm going to sit down, take a seat on a sort of a little bench, and just look at it for a while. People go past, they're busy, but most people don't even notice me sitting there, but a few do. A few look and they realize, oh yeah, it's his first time. And most people are kind of happy, or some people roll their eyes, oh yeah, there's another one. But I don't mind. I just sit there and look down and think of all the people that have always looked up, like people, famous people, Galileo, that kind of thing, at this big orb, but not famous people. People I care about, who in this time, or so long ago, who looked up through their telescopes. Yeah, it's beautiful. But it is at this point, according to our itinerary, that something strange occurs. Something odd, nothing major, just something out of the ordinary. Something that even here, even though I'm in a time and a place that doesn't belong to me, doesn't quite seem right. As I look around, and again, I'm not an expert in this place, but there seems to be that there are some serious people walking around. I don't know any of these people, like what's going on, what's the political situation right now, like it's been a couple 100 years, so things would have changed quite a bit, but also maybe not. Like, this is all very lovely, but is this like the one percenters that I'm currently crashing? Is this what all of humanity's like a Star Trek perfect utopia? I don't know. But what I do notice, as I'm sort of sitting and looking out the window, there's a group of people who come sort of marching through the space. And everyone gives them a wide berth. They seem to be serious. Now, seriously what? Let's once again come back to Sean Tompkins, shall we? They seem to be seriously religious. We'll go into the cliches here and say that these figures seem to be vestmented, where everyone else is kind of wearing sort of the, let's just go the 2001 Space Odyssey cliche, the sort of the jumpsuit, sort of spaceman outfit, very clean. These guys, they've got some of that, but it's underneath these sort of like vestment looking things. Some of them look like they do have the hoods that they could put over their heads, but they don't. They have them off, and their heads are shaved. Let's say their heads are shaved. They seem to have with them sort of a jewelry that is serious, that's severe. It's like sharp, pointed edges. And I know my way around a religion or two, so I'm looking at these guys and I'm trying to notice if there's any iconography that I recognize as being, something from nowadays. So let's just say, it's possible. It's possible. So 5 and 6, I recognize it. No, I don't. As I look, it's very clearly ceremonial, but I can't see any iconography from now that's overtly recognizable in what these guys are wearing. So who are these people? More importantly, do they notice me? Now I'm here in my almost jeans, my knit, and I've traveled through time, so maybe there's sort of other telltale signs that I'm dodgy, I don't know. So I'm just sort of sitting there looking at these guys, and they look across, and do they take particular notice of me? Yes, they do. They notice, and I'm going to say, because I rolled a 5 on that they come over. Now, according to my roll, one of them comes over and they start to speak to me. And they are very demanding. You, who are you? What's your name? My name is Evan, sir. What freighter did you arrive on? No freighter, sir. A craft of my own, sir. There's no point lying. Like, what's the point? Like that's true, but that's also not true. It's also kind of vague. I hope they don't notice. And where is your craft docked? I'm tempted to say that you can access it through the atrium, but these guys are very pushy and everyone's giving them a wide berth. I don't know if I want to tell them I have a time machine. That could be a problem. Okay. To be completely honest, sirs, this is my first time on the space station. I'm actually a little bit turned around and lost. I'm not quite sure where I am. I thought I'd just stop and relax looking at the beautiful planet, but I don't actually know where my ship is anymore. Sorry. So I'm lying. I'm lying to these guys, which means I need to make a roll. Look, I look like a yokel, so I definitely don't look like I belong here, so I'm going to say this is a tricky roll, but I'm adding my my presence, which is a 3, to my subterfuge. I'm an honest guy, I don't particularly like lying, so let's see how this goes. Not good. Your landing bay would be on your arrival card. Show me your arrival card. Bugger, I don't have an arrival card. I feel very intimidated right now, but who are these people? Everyone else is all in spacesuits and stuff. Like, they all seem very George Jetson and Buck Rogers or something, you know? And here are these guys all in robes. Everyone's giving them a wide berth. That's different to showing respect. Who are these people? I'm making a connection, which is one of my strong suits. I stand up and I say to them, look, sir, I don't know who you are. You don't seem to be attached to all this. You're some sort of religious institution. What authority do you have to make demands of me? I don't have to give you anything, sir. Oh dear. So I'm putting on my best face. I've made my logical argument, which is, my presence plus my intuition. I've told them I don't think you've got any authority here. So that's a plus of 7. Look, I think I've uncovered a useful but probably not overly secret fact. I've stood up to these guys with a 12, so more than a 12. I think as I do this, the bloke sneers, but then walks away, joins his friends, and they continue down the hall. Who are these guys? And as I look, I see the one that I challenged. I see the one I confronted. And before they disappear around the corridor, he looks back at me. He makes eye contact. And he glares and disappears. Who have I just pissed off?